ICN started back in 1984 in Victoria, and the reason we started was to give small businesses an opportunity to link up with projects. Very soon, we spread across the country and onto New Zealand as well. The reason for our success? The reputation that we have built over the years with project owners. Don't forget that we have a very committed and skilled team of consultants across the country working in our local ICN offices. They verify the small businesses that they work with and link them up with the projects. There are no restrictions when it comes to the project side of things. We can work with anyone locally, regionally, and even globally. However, if you happen to be a small business, you need to be registered in Australia or New Zealand.
Hello, and welcome back to the next session of Unlocking Digital Horizons Summit 2024. For those that have just joined, I'm Mike.
I'm Louise.
And we are your MCs for the day. And what I'd like to do now is to introduce Andrew Coloni and Daniel McCormack to everyone in the audience. I'll start with Andrew, and then Louise can introduce Daniel. Andrew Coloni is a senior management executive with over 25 years experience in the building and construction industry and holds a bachelor's degree with honors in urban and town planning, sociology, and geography. He's a colleague of mine, and I didn't even know that. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Andrew. Andrew is currently the National Product and Service Director at Industry Capability Network and is passionate about supporting local industry and driving local economic growth. This includes assisting suppliers secure opportunities with local projects and helping project owners and major contractors find suitable and capable local suppliers. Andrew has extensive industry experience and has worked with companies such as BlueScope Steel, ITW Buildex, and Metricon in areas of financial, sales, project and supply chain management, strategic planning, and team leadership and development. As ICN's National Product and Service Director, Andrew is keen to work with all stakeholders involved in driving economic development by way of maximizing local content within domestic projects.
Thanks, Mike. And joining Andrew is our very own Daniel McCormack from ICN Northern Territory. Daniel is a professional with over a decade of dedication to system and process design and economic development in Northern Australia. His expertise spans major project facilitation, supply chain optimisation, vendor identification, and industry engagement within key sectors including minerals, defence, energy, and public services. Previously, Daniel worked in regional transport and logistics and finance, and he was a ministerial advisor to the Northern Territory Government. He currently serves on the board of Developing East Arnhem Land, a company focused on housing, economic and community transition, and is an appointed member of the Northern Territory Manufacturers Council. In addition, Daniel has been actively involved in the grassroots administration of community sporting clubs for over a decade. As the Chief Executive of ICNNT, he leads a team of industry specialists and data analysts overseeing sophisticated major projects and procurement activities across Northern Territory. Welcome, Andrew and Daniel.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for that kind introduction, Mike and Louise. You're both doing a cracking job today. Thank you also, everyone, for joining today's summit. Really appreciate your attendance and staying on board throughout the day. So as mentioned, Daniel and I are sharing this presentation. I'm going to start by covering off an overview of our core platform, which you see on the screen at the moment, which is Gateway by ICN, which actually underwent a huge upgrade only 5 weeks ago, which necessitated a very large effort from our own IT and marketing teams, and that upgrade was in celebration of our 40th anniversary that Warren and the team have mentioned today. And it was based on user feedback, which is something that we pride ourselves on. We're on the journey of continuous improvement. Even though we have been in business for 40 years, we're always looking to refine our platforms based on feedback that we receive from our key stakeholders. So I'll cover off a fair bit about Gateway and how it's used, and then Daniel will talk more in detail around the procurement process and the offshoots of the data that we've generated through Gateway and the supplier and project profiles, and how they're used in products such as supply chain mapping and the benefits that it provides by way of industry intelligence. So just a recap of the figures that have been touched on throughout the day by Warren and a couple of the videos that hopefully you've seen during some of the breaks. So since inception, we've helped local businesses find over $53 billion worth of contracts to keep them working and growing. That figure on the left that you see there is only as we've been able to accurately record those wins and the value of contracts, which started about 12 to 15 years ago. So the number, in our view, is a lot higher than 53 billion. It could be 5 times higher than that. And also there are a lot of projects that we are unable to report that information on due to confidentiality reasons, such as the fitness project. But we pride ourselves on those wins that have been secured by the SMEs locally within the projects that we've listed on Gateway. We have about 400 new companies joining Gateway every month at the moment. We have over 90,000 verified suppliers on our platform. And Daniel will go into a little bit more detail about how that information is used and the type of information that we do have on our supplier profile. A big point of difference for Gateway by ICN is the fact that we have people on the ground to support our platform. So it's not just a website that connects buyers to suppliers and the other way around. We actually have industry specialists in every state and territory and in some regional locations that work very closely with our suppliers on our platform, as well as the projects and other stakeholders such as government. So they undertake things such as site visits, meet the buyer events, profile improvement and expression of interest workshops, and add value in the community in a range of other areas. Just like the figure around the value of contracts that have been awarded through the platform, there's also a very high number of contracts that have been awarded through ICN. Again, since we've been able to accurately record these figures from about 10 to 15 years ago, we've awarded over 95,000 contracts. And as I said, that number is obviously a lot higher since we were unable to accurately record those and keep those records from projects 30, 40 years ago. So I'm going to provide you with a very quick overview and demonstration of our core platform, which is Gateway. So just bear with me as I click into our website. Okay, so this is the refreshed Gateway by ICN. Please feel free to grab the website details and look at this in more detail at your own leisure. I did mention that we have made a major upgrade to our platform. It's fully refreshed. And like I said, it takes on board user and stakeholder feedback. The core part of Gateway is the way in which suppliers look for projects and projects look for suppliers. At any one point in time, we have roughly over $400 billion worth of projects listed on Gateway by ICN. And as I touched on earlier on, we have about 90,000 verified suppliers. Why do people use Gateway by ICN? Well, it varies depending on the stakeholders. So here you'll see a bit of an example of how suppliers, project owners, government, and market analysts use Gateway by ICN. So from a supplier perspective, we are trying very hard to get them involved in local projects. So suppliers are able to showcase their business capabilities to project owners. They can get tailored advice and support from our industry specialists that I touched on earlier on. They can learn about new and upcoming opportunities before competitors actually stumble across them on other platforms. And they can also save time, money, and effort with our automated capability statements and quad charts that are available with our Be Compelling and premium subscriptions, which I'll touch on a little bit later on. From the project owner side of things, from a procurement manager or a buyer's perspective, they can essentially save time and money in the procurement process by sourcing local requirements, whether it be goods or services, from those companies that have registered their profiles on Gateway. They can assist with meeting their own procurement, corporate responsibility, and regulatory requirements. So just for your awareness, in Australia, based on the Jobs Act in 2012, we are referenced as a methodology of helping project owners meet their Australian industry participation requirements. And those requirements kick in for any project that has either $20 million worth of government funding, or if the total project value, private or public, is worth over $500 million. In those examples, there's an AIP website whereby those project owners need to go about meeting their requirements on engaging with local suppliers, and we play a pivotal role in assisting with that process. Project owners can also bridge the gap between businesses and projects by our supported industry specialists, and they can also uncover powerful supply chain solutions that are backed by our other products, services, and team members. So that's just a very quick snapshot of how suppliers and project owners use our platform. As I mentioned, in your leisure, please take some time to look at how we also support government and market analysts. So across the top here, you can have a look at some very good information about the projects and how they work, success stories and case studies around how ICN has assisted SMEs secure work within major projects. You can also book a demo. So if you getting to a point where you're not so sure about whether or not this is right for you or which tier subscription to come on board, if you click the book and demo tab, it takes you straight through a demonstration booking form. And then of course you've got the Join Now page, which on the left-hand side provides information regarding the features and benefits that come with each of the tiers. It's important to note that we will have and always have had a free tier. So suppliers can come on board for free. They can register their profile and they could submit expressions of interest against the projects and work package opportunities that exist on Gateway. And then there are various paid levels that come with additional features and benefits. It's noted there that the best value subscription is our premium subscription. And the reason that we say that is our best value is that it provides a whole range of features and benefits, including templates for capability statements, quad charts, also premium landing pages and exposure to those people that are looking for your capability. So I'll go back to the main part of Gateway, which is the project and supplier search section, just to give you a very brief overview of how that is used. So for example, if I'm looking for a project, then all I am doing here is typing in the type of project opportunities that I'm looking for. So as an example, if I type in defence and I choose all of Australia and click on search, I can see that there are currently 57 matching results for defence projects listed across Australia. And then I can have a look at the details from the point of view of when each of these projects were listed on Gateway, the number of work packages that are available, and where the project prime or head office is actually located. So for an example here, if I look at the BAE Systems Hunter class frigate program, this is where I come across the landing page for this particular project. This one is essentially owned by BAE Systems in collaboration with our team. It's important to note that for every project listed on Gateway, we will always have one of our industry specialist details noted here. So in the example for this particular project, you can see Ariane Lopez as listed as the supply chain manager. Ariane is one of our valued team members that works from our ICN South Australia office, and you've got her mobile number, and you can also send her an email. And like I touched on earlier on, that's a big point of difference with our platform, is that you can actually reach out to a human being and have a conversation with them about how to maybe improve your profile or how to go about submitting an expression of interest, some Q&A around how to embark on other searches for other projects. So they're there to help you. And you'll also notice in this example, there is a team member from BAE Systems also listed, which is their capability manager, Brian Condon. So these project pages give you an overview of the project in detail, And also the key thing here is the work package information. And this is the core part of our platform where suppliers are looking for opportunities to express interest in getting involved in. So you'll notice here that there's quite a few. There's 177 work packages here. You can sort by all awarded, closed or open. There were some ICT packages that were available for this particular project. They've since been closed, and they at some point will go to the RFQ phase of the project. But if you have a look at those awarded projects, you can also see information regarding where they were awarded. But if I did click on open, excuse me, I'll just go back to the top. If I clicked on open, then I can see that there are still some opportunities for this particular project. And also, if you're interested in being alerted to any future opportunities, you can express interest in this any opportunity EOI. So that's a very quick snapshot of how suppliers go about using our platform to search for project opportunities. And now I'll take you back to how a project could go about searching for suppliers. So from a supplier perspective, if I was looking for one, as an example, if I did type in ICT and I was interested in finding providers in the Melbourne region, then I would basically put in those fields. I can see that I've found 21 ICT companies in that region. I've got an interactive map here where I can actually view and sort based on location. So as an example, if I was in the Ringwood area, I could have a look at AMP Control over here. They're one of our premium subscribers. And if I click on their profile, I can get some detail around the capability of this particular supplier. So I can see their contact details, their services that they provide, a company overview, some images of either projects that they've been involved in or their facility, as well as their accreditations and their locations. And in this example, this particular company has quite a few locations around the country. You can also see that there are similar suppliers noted down the bottom here. So if you're looking at engaging with a number of providers in that location, then we can also assist with putting you in touch with other service providers. So I don't want to steal too much of Daniel's time. That's a very quick overview of Gateway by ICN. There is some time for Q&A at the end, but I will stop sharing now and hand over to Daniel for his slides. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and for the introduction from Louise and Mike. As mentioned, my name is Daniel McCormick, and I'm the CEO of ICN Northern Territory. I've been with ICN for about 7 years, and a large portion of that time I've actually spent mapping supply chains for our clients across the north of Australia, both public and private sector. So what I want to demonstrate to you is how we use our procurement and industry data to actually map Australia's future supply chains. To do this, it really comes down to having credible data. And fortunately, we have an abundance of that. As Andrew just demonstrated, our ICN Gateway platform holds a record of about 90,000 businesses from all around Australia, as well as tens of billions of dollars worth of procurement activity at any one point in time. These profiles include information such as businesses' ABNs, headcount, turnover, products and services, accreditations, the client list, and equipment that the company may own, and a lot more. As you can appreciate, this data paints a pretty comprehensive picture of the business's capability and capacity. When aggregated, we can also understand an entire region's capability and capacity using this data as well. We apply this data in many ways, but always with the purpose of strengthening Australia's supply chains. This occurs most commonly during our vendor identification process, which we provide to our clients to assist them in finding the right business. Here's a typical procurement flow that ICN would facilitate for a major project. So normally ICN is engaged during the procurement planning phase of a project, where we review one or many scopes of works from our project clients. We investigate that scope of work against our database of suppliers and produce a verified shortlist for the businesses that meet the criteria that they've provided us. After which, we provide that shortlist to the buyer and it progresses into the bid phase. This is typically managed internally by the project's own procurement team and is where the detailed tendering process takes place, such as the design and engineering and pricing. After the bid phase closes, the bids are assessed and the negotiation is conducted between the buyer and the prospective supplier before the contract is awarded. Finally, the awarded contractor scales up, mobilises and commences work, and at that point money starts entering the economy. Because of this visibility and early engagement, we often obtain planned procurement data and scheduling across major supply chains and major projects before most of the public is aware. This puts us in a unique position to have forecasts of this proposed work and potential supply chain issues around Australia and in different regions. Now, having seen a simple procurement process flow, imagine that procurement having a scope of work and value. Perhaps $500,000 to purchase rail signals in New South Wales, or a $30 million runway extension at Tyndall Air Force Base in the Northern Territory, or $500 million for a new hospital in Victoria, or $3 billion for a gas offloading facility in the northwest of Australia. These are all very common procurements that we deal with. This sort of procurement is layered over and over across different regions and different projects, with over 10,000 of these sorts of transactions worth tens of billions of dollars moving through our systems and offices each year. Then imagine having the amount of transaction capability and supply chain demand data that we have accrued over the last 40 years of our existence across the development of mine sites, gas plants, energy projects, bridges, tunnels, railways, airports, ship lifts, defence bases, the construction of warships, stadiums, high-rises, hospitals, the list goes on. Combine that retrospective data with our awareness of the incoming pipeline of major projects, and then include our extensive database of business capability from around Australia. And you've really got all the tools you need to be able to map supply chains across critical industries with the data to back it all up. Using this business and procurement data to map supply chains isn't just hypothetical for us. It's actually something that we've been doing in this format for about the last 5 years. However, recently, as you can appreciate, the demand for this knowledge has increased significantly due to global events such as COVID-19 and conflicts now occurring overseas. There has been an increased emphasis on sovereign capability and strengthening local supply chains within Australia. And we've found ourselves to be perfectly positioned to be able to assist both governments and private sector clients with this service. As they, being governments and our clients, continue to seek data to better understand how industries develop in Australia and our industrial strengths and weaknesses, we lay key for that. With the pipeline of major projects incoming and the extensive database we have, we find that we're uniquely positioned to be able to do this comprehensive supply chain mapping. And is just one of the many ways we apply the data that we gather from the businesses on our systems for the benefit of Australia. That's really the end of my short presentation and providing some context of how we apply the data we accrue through our ICN Gateway platform for the use of mapping supply chains. I believe we're going to go into a Q&A now. So please, if you have any questions, drop them into the chat.
Brilliant. Andrew, Daniel, thank you so much. That was great. And it was very informative. Thank you. I think we've got pretty much 2 questions, but they are almost combined. So I'll just try and combine them into 2, and I'll try not to answer it myself. How do ICN verify suppliers, and how do suppliers keep the information up to date? And the third element to that is, how often should the suppliers be updating their profiles? Daniel, I'll flick that to you.
Gladly. So just to give you an example, our Northern Territory office up in Darwin, we have about 15 staff. So when a supplier registers with us and they provide us the information about their business, we'll often do a welcome phone call and or email through to welcome them onto the system, to show them how to use that data, but also to verify some of the capability information that they're providing us. Furthermore, where possible, we actually like to go and visit the business physically to get eyes on some of the equipment and capability that they have before we look to pass that on to our clients, just to ensure that it is credible capability information. The analogy that I like to use is that what we really have is a corporate resume or a business resume, and it should be treated as such. As an individual, if you're seeking work, you want your resume to be kept up to date in order to find the best jobs for you, and your ICN profile is no different. We tend to think about 6 months on average is a good time frame to be logging back into your business profile, updating us with any changes in your business. Has your headcount increased or decreased? Has your turnover increased or decreased? Have you opened a new branch? Have you serviced a new client recently? All of that information is very valuable for us to have. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Andrew, just getting back to a comment that you made about we've evolved and our evolution to date. And it kind of dawned on me that I think even in our environment, how important the digitization component is, but then more importantly, the security element, which I think we've been focused on for quite a while. Maybe you can just touch on that very quickly for us in terms of the environment that we've had to create to ensure data security is maintained.
Thanks, Mike. Very relevant and very good question. It's imperative for us to make sure that our data is secure. So our Chief Technical Officer is placing a huge emphasis on that with our respective IT teams. It's of extreme importance for us to have a very robust range of products and services and to ensure that we are very well protected from any cybersecurity threats. So we've spent a fair bit of time in this presentation talking about the amount of data that we have, 90,000 plus suppliers, $460 billion worth of projects, including the Department of Defence major projects. So it's a huge area of importance for us. We do get support from the federal government to ensure that we do have robust security measures in place. They also undertake some testing of those environments to make sure that they're also satisfied with the robustness of our platform. So yes, Mike, it's very important. It's something that we'll continue to place a huge emphasis on, and something that we also invest in substantially to ensure that our platforms are quite secure and robust.
Thanks, Andrew. Much appreciated.
Excellent. Yeah, look, thank you, Andrew and Daniel. That was a fantastic presentation, and I think it just, you gave a great overview of how the data that we have and how we use it, and how important it is for our suppliers to be keeping that up to date so that we can support them the best way that we can. So look, really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us today.
Thank you also.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
For everyone else, it is time for us to take a short break, which means that it's an opportunity for you to jump in and visit our booths or access the resources that are available. So don't forget, we've got Construct Maps and Cyber Wardens and ICC, as well as Industry Capability Network in booths, ready to have a chat, answer any questions, and provide you with further information. Our next session is going to be with Renee Levings and Alex Canning from Guild R&D Incentives and Grants. I'm looking forward to this one, and it will begin at 2:40 p.m. So we'll look forward to seeing you back online then. Thanks.